Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is actually an infirmed commentary, so I might be coughing and hacking here and there, but I will persevere for the community. A couple things. This is, by the way, Hiya versus Forgg second set of MST Group 11 on Fighting Spirit, and it looks like Hiya going by Koosh these days. Reminds me of Koosh balls back in the day, the Nerf. They're awesome. Drinking green tea. Oh yeah, drink of champions. I got a favor for Forgg in this match now. He's starting the bottom left-hand corner in brown. We have Hiya in the upper left-hand corner in blue. Couple announcements. First of all, if you want some hilarity, turn on the closed captioning, because I'm sure it's going to completely mangle everything I'm saying, particularly with the coughing in there. Additionally, Moletrap has an awesome commentary of him reading the transcription, which is it's great. And I snuck some StarCraft 2 commentaries in. Actually, while I was still sick with a flu, I didn't have the cough at that time. But if you go to MajorLeagueGaming.com, or I'm sorry, Major League Gaming on YouTube, not .com, or I guess you can go to the .com website if you prefer. I think it's the MLGPro.com. But anyway, point being, I did some StarCraft 2 YouTube commentaries on their YouTube page, so go check those out. I think it's a really good example of how PvP is working these days in StarCraft 2. And I was very surprised by the results. I thought they were pretty crazy, interesting games. Definitely not the style of play I was expecting. And speaking of style of play, it looks like both players going to open up pretty standard. I think Fighting Spirit's one of those maps that a lot like, I'm trying to think of maps back, was Katrina one of those maps? Basically maps that lead to very, very long, I think actually, crap, I can't remember the name of it. There was one of those standard cheese maps with dark swarms everywhere back when I was just getting started commentating. And it just made really long Terran versus Terran matches, and I feel like Fighting Spirit is another one of those maps that can favor standard Terran play, and as a result can unfortunately result in very long Terran versus Terran, which might be what we see here. We'll have to find out. Looks like Hiya took a little bit of a faster gas, might be thinking about getting a factory down a little bit faster and just going straight to maybe being the aggressor in this situation, I don't know. Hiya, yeah, he's one of those guys that plays inconsistently, and I think it's because he's such a loose cannon. I mean, he plays very off kilter. He plays very kind of nutty, kind of crazy. You never know what he's up to, and sometimes that's an advantage, sometimes that's a disadvantage. Forgg, on the other hand, I think he's one of, and that actually makes a tough opponent for Forgg. Forgg, known as the time attacker, he has won a championship, which almost makes me wonder, hey, did he get lucky during all that time? He plays very well against the standard, and he has excellent timing, and he has excellent timing attacks against standard play. So that makes Hiya a very tough opponent for him. I mean, that's one of those guys that can just, he can catch you off guard, he can throw you off. It's actually kind of surprising that Forgg beat Jaedong, and that kind of tells you something, that basically Jaedong stuck to the game plan. And that is exactly what you do not want to do against Forgg, is don't stick to the game plan. Throw everything at him you can. Throw him off. Take your gas first. Put 2 SCV on gas just so he doesn't know what's going on. Yeah, keep him in the dark. Other information like that is vital. Looks like Forgg did send out that scout into the upper left-hand corner. It is going to be brushed back by those 2 Marines on the ramp. After hugging, saying, hey, what's up? Giving him a high five. So, ooh, high five, all getting riddled with bullets, pulling back. And it looks like we are going to see a 2-factory opening here from Hiya. So Hiya sticking to gas production, getting the 2 factories down. This is actually a pretty long distance map to try to pull this off on, and it's also kind of it can be successful if you go for a 2-factory push just for position. And you'll see at Forgg's up, it looks, I think he's going for fast expansion. Oh yeah, there's the command center right there. But the other thing you can accomplish with a 2-factory push is you could just not necessarily go for the kill, but establish a position on your opponent. Because of Fighting Spirit, if you can establish position right outside that natural expansion, it can be very difficult to break that kind of following. And for whatever reason, Forgg felt like he doesn't need that Marine or wanted to wake that Marine up, so shooting him in the face a little bit. A little bit surprised by that himself. He's like, well, I guess that Marine, they were really itchy trigger fingers. Very quickly pulling it off. But we'll see how this works for Hiya, and whether, again, I don't think Hiya necessarily, obviously 2-factory pushes are generally good for going for a killing blow. He could still, theoretically, if it doesn't work out, pull out of it by taking a natural expansion, just denying that natural expansion to Forgg, and just playing that map control, map position game. So, which, again, I think would work out rather well for him. Fighting Spirit is one of those maps, particularly in Terran versus Terran. I mean, there's gas expansions everywhere, and once you can get to them, you can kind of hold out and just sit there forever. So I feel like the kind of the two stages of the game, at least Terran versus Terran, are kind of first, who can get map position right outside, who can put the pressure on to do that natural expansion. It looks like Hiya is going to play not the villain per se, but definitely the early game aggressor in that regard. Looks like he's spotting everything he wants to see right here. Those Marines trying to swing their way around. Looks like 2 tanks already headed there, and you can see he's going a little bit more tank heavy. He's not going to throw any vultures in this. It looks like actually he's going to bring vultures up to support. Actually surprised by that. I thought he was, just going to stick with straight tank and try to use siege just to plow his way forward. Now what's really critical about this is you can see Forgg is just trying to nail that barracks and kill it as quickly as possible, because if there is a rush that comes down the line, the one thing that Forgg is going to need more than anything is spotting up on that high ground, because if those tanks back up, go to that high ground, and siege from there, Forgg might be in a little bit of trouble. It looks like Hiya, though, has 3 tanks. He's got definitely a superior attack force. There are some SCVs on the ground to provide some support. That first SCV eating up some damage. Forgg spotting it, backing out, and it looks like it's going to be 3 tanks versus 4, but SCVs on that front line, and it looks like that first siege tank getting knocked, out almost immediately, and very nice defense by Forgg. Wow, not even a second shot. I'm not sure if those beautiful defense by Forgg. Barely even lost any SCVs there in that attack, and you can see Hiya trying to continuously repair, but got absolutely nothing out of that. Going to try to bring up some vultures and plant some mines to kind of follow, but that just fell flat on its face. Forgg within, I guess that's kind of, well, first of all, since coming, but 2 beautifully timed, had 3 tanks and an awesome defense, and now that's going to give Forgg, first of all, the expansion bonus. It looks like he might be able to force that barracks to burn down, which is going to set Hiya back even further. And then he's going to have air control, so Hiya trying to lay mines and try to take that expansion, basically using the few vultures he has for map position to try to secure that. But still, it's going to be significantly later. He's going to have significantly fewer factories to kind of follow this up, because I don't know that he's really going to have the resources to invest post this, and I'm almost sure that barracks is going to burn down somewhere in the ether out there in the field. But yeah, he's going to have a hard time kind of crawling his way back into this, especially since Forgg is immediately going to follow this up with the dropships, which are basically means he's going to have to, and wow, Forgg actually losing no time whatsoever and pushing up with actually an inferior vulture force up into a superior vulture force to make sure that Forgg continues to build defenses. It looks like he's going to lose a couple of vultures on the field, but wants to make sure that he knows he's not feeling light on pressure, and going Wraith, knowing, I guess, feeling that Forgg is not going to have enough anti-air, and going to push up there and go with the Wraith first to kind of pick a couple SCVs here and there. So interesting decision by Forgg. I almost feel like it might have been a little bit more worthwhile to just go straight to dropship and start getting air superiority that way. He does have that armory down. He is going to have weapons 1 out a lot sooner. And again, he's way ahead economically altogether. I almost wonder if that's almost for scouting purposes as well. He's like, well, I want to make sure I can get up a scout. I can do some economic harass with it, keep an eye on what Hiya is doing. And actually, I take it back. That Wraith is actually also going to secure along that 9 o'clock position, make sure that barracks gets taken down. Looks like a rogue SCV managed to sneak out there in the field to repair that barracks. I thought for sure it was going to burn down. Green tea. Definitely going to be a bonus. And Hiya, already on top of it, already sensed this coming, and he's going to have a Wraith of his own to try to fight against this. And it looks like actually Forgg waiting. He's going to build a pretty significant Wraith force before he decides to move out. Looks like Hiya is going to be pretty far behind, though, to kind of follow this. And Forgg being clearing that minefield in front of him, being a little bit aggressive. I guess he can afford to be, but being a little bit more aggressive than I'm used to seeing him playing. Usually you won't see him do this sort of maneuver. It looks like some vultures sitting there at the 6 o'clock position just waiting to kind of sneak out, and now finding that barracks in that SCV building here across that 9 o'clock slot. Tanks moving forward, able to blow up those mines and whatnot, but now he's going to basically do the same thing on the opposite end of the field. He's going to move these Wraith up, try to use them for position against the siege tanks, and try to seal Hiya. And on that opposite end, you can see Hiya ordering a huge defensive slot right there. He needs to be careful with that one Wraith. Saving that Wraith was huge, and he wasn't able to do it. So now it looks like on that front edge, he's going to end up losing siege tanks And wow, not missing a beat. Hiya running right into that natural expansion. Only a single siege tank there to try to protect. So this is going to help Hiya out a little bit here. It's first of all, it's going to provide him with precious SCV kills and try to even things out. So nice little dive in on his part. But critically losing tanks, and he might lose position here on the front door. Needs to get some Goliaths out to try to defend this out, but he has managed to even things up at least economically a little bit, despite the loss of, and you can see the